There's donut day, there's pizza day.
2013 was the International Year of Quinoa.
What?
And I love quinoa.
Me too.
A whole year, like how do you even celebrate that?
I've always been inspired by regular people who decide to follow their passion, and in doing so, end up having a positive impact on the world bigger than they could have ever imagined. One of those people is my friend, Hank Fortner.
You started a holiday.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
It actually came about only because it didn't exist. I think sometimes making an impact feels a lot for people like, I want to be a part of that, or I want to be a part of that, or I want to be a part of that. You can stand out just by looking and going, what is nobody paying attention to, or what does everybody think is already being done? I had a big personal experience with adoption. After 3 of us biologically, my parents fostered 36 kids over a 7-year period. We had an amazing family unit that focused on taking care of kids that didn't have family. Family never had anything to do with last names or blood or color or DNA. It was always who was in our home that we were taking care of. That's who family was. We kind of slammed our face into the system, which is not serving kids well. I had a little brother for 3 years. His name was Hubby, and just an unbelievable kid. And we bonded super fast. He was with us for 3 years, and then we got a phone call, and within 24 hours, the police and a social worker came to take him out of our home. So take a 6-year-old, 2-year-old, 4-year-old when they enter the system, send them through different sets of parents and families. You don't remember every house, you just know the world is gonna use me or pass me around. They turn 18, they're handed a trash bag full of their items most of the time. Sometimes there's great programs. The YMCA and YWCA create some really great programs, but for a minority of these kids, most of them end up unemployed, most of them end up in prison. That part of the journey was super difficult for me, and which is part of the reason what shifted our family into the permanence of adoption. So we did 7 years of foster care, and then they proceeded to do 10 years of adoption, and we adopted 8 kids from 6 different countries.
Wow. All right, so we see where your drive for adoption comes from. And then from that, you went and you started your organization called Adopt Together.
Yep, Adopt Together was started as a platform that helps families fundraise for their adoption.
Okay.
And we realized it's so expensive. It can be upwards of $40,000 and $50,000 to adopt domestically. If you're a teacher or a cop, if you make 50 or 60 grand a year, they're like, I'll take a year's salary in cash. You know, what's the percentage of people that have that? 87% of people who consider adoption, they just bail. So we hope that people might look at the price tag and go, it's a sign I shouldn't adopt, but they look at Adopt Together and go, okay, it's a sign we should adopt.
And from what point, after starting your foundation, did you realize, hey, let's turn this thing into a holiday?
I have a friend named Scott Harrison who started Charity Water. Been an amazing support, but also a mentor in the process. And every time I would tell him about what I was doing, he would always say, throw a party. As it turns out, you need basically cool parties to raise money in the world. So we're about to hit our $5 millionth, which is massive success. For us, that was like way beyond what we'd imagined. So we started that in 2012, and then in 2013, we were like, we gotta figure out how to celebrate. We gotta throw a party. So I was like, oh, we'll do something around World Adoption Day. Hey, we're sitting in a room talking about the party, and I finally said, hey guys, somebody Google when World Adoption Day is, and we'll just do it around World Adoption Day, because there has to be a World Adoption Day.
That has to exist, right?
They're sitting there like, can't find it. I'm like, okay. Could I have the computer? Oh, let me show you how the internet works. And I'm looking, and I make like a fool of this person. And then I'm like standing there and like the pressure's cooking, because I'm like could not find World Adoption Day. And I was like, we know what to do now. We're gonna create World Adoption Day. And then I looked at a guy, he's like, hey, find out if the domain is available, which of course there's no such thing, so yes, the domain was available. So we started the domain, got one of the guys at the table, was like, hey, I'm gonna build a site. We built a site that night, drew everything up, rocked it, and just said, all right, we gotta do it. I started calling people and saying, hey, we're gonna create World Adoption Day. And one of the guys was like, yeah, I think you should touch base with the UN because they sort of do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, definitely, I should do that.
That was on my list.
So I called the UN and I just said, hey, I'd like to submit a day for international observance, which I was like super proud of myself for knowing how to say that statement. And he said, well, are you an ambassador? You better believe it. Yeah. I'm an ambassador for World Adoption Day. And he's like, no, are you a delegate? Yes, I have delegated myself to make this phone call to you. And the guy was like, that's not how this works.
He's like, you're not.
He gives me like this line about how hard it is and how long it takes and you gotta get these people. I go, cool. Then I'm just gonna do it because we already picked a day, which I was gonna tell you about. It's November 9th, and he's like, okay, yeah, if you can do it, but it won't be real. Then I was like, no offense, but this is the International Year of Quinoa, and I'm the only person that I know who knows that. So if I can make it real, then you and I will work out the logistics later. And he's like, fine, good luck. So we needed some activation. We needed some way to communicate to people that they were celebrating, give people a way to celebrate. And a lot of ideas came up, and I love a lot of art history and how art has impacted culture. And there's a story of a guy named Harvey Ball. Harvey was an artist like 50 years ago who created the smiley face. And I remember that story and remember those pieces, and somebody said, we need a visual, we need an icon, we need what is World Adoption Day? And for me, having come from a world where adoption was such a tragic story to begin with, you don't come to adoption because everything is going smoothly. You come to adoption because a birth mother tragically is either not well or not capable or able or of her own volition says, I know I cannot give this child life. So a child and their mother are separated. That's where adoption starts, which is tragic. What adoption does is it redeems that brokenness. It brings a healing and a hope and a joy and a celebration. So I said, let's draw a smiley face on people's hands and have them post a selfie.
Boom.
And say, Happy World Adoption Day. I wanted to raise
I love that. It makes you
morale.
just feel good. No, as soon as you see it, you're smiling.
Yeah, everything can suck around you, but for one day, everybody's gonna say, hey, family is everything. Every child deserves a family. And we're gonna boost morale around this conversation that has otherwise been taboo or awkward or uneasy. And you get to celebrate people. But we got Shaq to post. And so it got people pumped and excited. Since then, we've had Ellen and Charlize Theron and so many people whose lives have been touched. And they've posted the smiley face. It's 100% participation. Anybody can participate and vote for families and vote for kids to have a home. I wanted to change the way that people imagine family. And the amount of people who posted this, who said, hey, I'm adopted, I've never told my story. I've never told my family how grateful I am for them. People who posted it and said, I have a little brother who's adopted, I've never told people that. And it's just extraordinary for me to go, even though all these stories began with tragedy somewhere. For one day, we're just gonna celebrate that because of those tragedies, I have my brother Brendan and Matthew and Hope and Gab. Like, I have these people in my life because of that tragedy, and for one day, I'm gonna celebrate it.
You basically started a movement.
Hopefully, hopefully.